I have to get this out really quickly before it goes away. So, um, if we think about breathing for a second, you think that your breaths are something that you do, but let's analyze this for a minute. You're breathing inward and you're breathing outward. When you match your conscious awareness with it, makes you feel like you're the one that's breathing. But then if you stop thinking about it and you go off to think about making dinner or getting your kids something or whatever, you're still breathing. So at that point, is that voluntary or involuntary, right? Equally, this is fascinating because the only difference between the two of them is your identification with the idea that you're controlling it. But how do you prove to anyone that you're controlling your breath? The voice inside your head, you, is sitting there going, of course I am. I'm the one that's drawing my breath in. Are you? Are you the one that's manually opening up your lungs? Are you the one that's in particularly micromanaging every single molecule, atom, every element within that set of lungs? What about the rest of the body? Are you then pumping the entire breath through the circulatory system? No. So primarily what we think we do with ourselves, I move my hand, is my identification with the awareness of my hand moving. And because I identify with the awareness of my hand moving, I go, oh, well, that's me. I'm deliberately doing that. But if I don't identify with that awareness and I just reach for something, then that's an involuntary motion and that's still me doing it. There's a saying that goes something like, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I'll paraphrase it probably badly. But it goes something like, if you, I know that I'm God. It's a conversation between two people or something, a parable from Hindu mythology or something like this. I'll see if I can track it down. But the premise of it goes that there's two people having a conversation. One of them is like, oh, everybody's God, we're all God, da 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 da. And one of the disbeliever is going, well, if you're God, then levitate this. And, the person goes, well, I could, but I'm not going to. And then that's the Western one. The Eastern one is more along the lines of, well, I could, but I will when I want to, right? Let's take, for instance, a tree falling. So the disbeliever says to the person who's talking about this, well, make that tree fall over. And the person goes, okay, well, I'll make the tree fall over when I want to. Okay. Now, because I can't remember the exact quote that I'm thinking of, I can only remember the lesson of it. This is getting a bit messy, but the point still stands that everything that is around you, you have control over as well. Say the bee flying around the flower, the tree falling in the woods, the thing that is levitating off the table. When something happens, it happens. Like your breath, it happens. You're not the one that's controlling it. When a tree falls in a wood, it happens. But if you can identify with the awareness of that tree falling, well, then that's where you would turn around and say, well, I made that tree fall. Equally, then I would turn around and say, well, did you? Did you actually pull up its roots? Did you dismantle the molecular bonds between every part of it along this particular ridge, causing it to crack at that point and then collapse in that direction? And you look at me and go, well, no, I just made it fall. Like, you would look at me and say, no, I just took a breath. But we don't even do that. That's just our identification with the awareness of these things. With this, if you can grasp this, watch this a couple of times and think about this. Because if you can grasp this, then how to manipulate matter outside of your body becomes extremely potentially viable for you. Because you realize that manipulating things outside of you and manipulating things inside of you, or identifying with the awareness of manipulating things, is exactly the same. You don't have any control over it. You're just a byproduct, or not the byproduct, you're just a witnesser of it. So you can be there present for it. It's like synchronicity. If you try to do something against the universe, it generally tends to end up pretty bad. But if you do it at exactly the right time when you're meant to do it, it goes along according to plan. So if you go out and you try to break a tree down before it's time for it to break it down, you'll have to, say, take a chainsaw to it or an axe, right? You're still bringing it down. You're still making it fall. But if you're there at exactly the right time that the universe is asking you to be there, then you'll be able to identify, merge your conscious awareness with that field of presence in that tree and say quite simply, okay, now fall, and then watch it fall. But you won't say fall and it will fall. Your fall won't be the cause of it. Your fall will be in alignment with the process happening. And then because you've identified with the mental awareness of the circumstance, you'll then be remarkably exclaiming, I made that tree fall. But, I mean, we don't. Just as much as we don't make ourselves breathe. I'm talking to you with my eyes open. I'm not the one that's actually opening my eyes. My eyes are open. My eyes are opening. They are a process of being open. It's a really weird lesson, that one. Have a good ponder on it and let me know how it goes.